Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Breeze, Breezeway Productions' The Breeze, where we bring you the latest in independent films and film festival circuit. And we are continuing our coverage of this year's 2021 LA Greek Film Festival. And the next filmmaker that we have with us today is Haroula Rose for her film, Once Upon a River. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
For sure. Thanks for coming on the show.
What's the main rule again?
Only make the good shot, not just any shot.
That's right. Listen to your breathing, to your body.
Do you want to come hunting with me for opening day?
You're gonna go hunting with her? Are you kidding me, Dad?
Margo, you know you're the only reason I'm alive and sober in this world.
I know that, Daddy.
Having fun? You're so lovely, Margo.
Dirty son of a...
Dad!
What are you doing, man?
Brian, what's a girl doing here holding a gun?
Where you headed, Maggie?
Trying to get to my mom.
You sure you're not running away from home?
What's your
Smoke. When the time comes, you better live up to your end of the bargain.
So when I wake and the sun streams,
You wish you hadn't had me.
Thoughts pass me by. I started praying like some way to capture time when what remains
You can go to the river to remember,
may only be
and you can go to the river to forget.
dream.
I welcome you to the river.
Tell us a little about Once Upon a River.
Once Upon a River is, I like to call it an odyssey. It's about a young woman in the 1970s. She's of Native American heritage, and she is on this quest to find her mother, who's been estranged after some tragedy happens in her life, and her father is no longer alive. So it's definitely dramatic, but it's also very hopeful and cinematic. And I fell in love with the novel and figured out how to adapt it and make it happen into a film because I just love the character and the world so much.
Okay, so this is based off of a novel. How did you end up working with the writer of the novel to transfer it to be a screenplay?
Well, I read the book and I just had that feeling. It's an innate sort of instinct that it felt like exactly the kind of thing I had been looking for in
Mhm.
terms of story, character, quality, period, all the things I could learn in doing it too. And just that she was sort of like this interesting tomboy character. And then I wrote to the writer and mentioned how much I loved the book. And she said, "Oh, well, talk to my agent and like, let's have a conversation." And so both of those things happened. I met up with Bonnie Jo, who's the writer, and then I also talked to her agent. And there were other people interested in it who, had more finances and what have you. But I'm glad that she kind of believed and trusted me the most because it is a quest, even making a film, any film, especially this kind of film for a low budget is really tough. But I think she felt comfortable also that I'm a woman and telling this very much like feminine story about a woman in a man's world. And so I figured out how to do it. And the agent and I came to an agreement and it all worked out. I mean, it took a while, but we figured it out. And then I always wanted her to like make sure to give me a sort of a blessing on the script. So when I was ready to share it with her, she was like, "Okay, great." And she had a couple questions and we've become really good friends ever since then. So this whole process
Nice.
is really cool.
It's a beautiful thing when it all works out. You see the chain of events just connect one after the other, and then now you have your finished project, which is screening at this year's LA Greek Film Festival. So my question is, where's the Greek connection with this film for it to be showcased at that fest?
Oh, well, so I'm Greek. My middle name is Rose and my last name is Sparopoulos. And
Okay.
growing up, much to my parents' disappointment, I was like, my first name's weird enough. I'm just gonna go by Haroula Rose. And they're like, okay. So my heritage is Greek, but I just, I guess I would love to make a film in Greece someday. In fact, I'm co-writing one now, but this is just something I fell in love with. And then it was at the Thessaloniki Film Festival in Greece. In 2019, we did this huge festival run, like 40 festivals, and it won a lot of acclaim. It was really cool. And then one of them was in Greece, and one of the women who runs the LA Greek Film Festival, Georgia, saw it and she loved it. And I'm so glad that she did, because now we got to show it at this film festival now.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
I love exploring film festivals and finding films and hearing how they were created and what story they're looking to tell that audiences can soak in. So when audiences are looking to go and watch a new movie, what will be a good tagline for this film that would entice audiences to come and check it out?
I would say adventure, action, romance. How would you say a sort of like journey or quest? She's definitely on a it's a road movie for sure, but it's just that she's
Nice.
going by water, so it feels a little more picturesque. And she hitchhikes too, actually, and she does all these things. But I'd also say, yeah, it's an adaptation, which was really cool. Like I said, Bonnie Jo was awesome to
Yeah.
work with too. And that it's a period piece. It's set in the 70s, which was also really cool, figuring out how to do that vibe and sound and feeling and
Sure.
stuff.
How did you connect with your talent when you discovered them? Did you work with a casting director, or how did you know that they were a match for when you ended up casting?
Oh, it was a couple things, because a couple of the roles are Native American, and so I worked with Angelique Midthunder, who also is in that world and community, and one of my executive producers introduced me to some people. And then I worked with a locations casting person in Chicago, because we shot in the Midwest where I grew up.
Nice.
And then our lead girl, this was a really cool story actually. She came like 2 days before we were going to have to maybe postpone the whole project. And it came through like backstage.com through a woman who was helping me with production assistance and casting assistants. Everybody has like 3 jobs on a little movie.
For sure.
But I was so bummed. I'm like, how do I have like all these amazing actors? John Ashton's an incredible actor, and Tatanka Means, and all these people were lined up, and I still didn't have the lead girl. And so, this young woman, Jules, who was helping me, she put out all these casting notices on all these websites. And I just remember feeling like a sense of despair and anxiety, because I was like, how do I not have my lead? I had seen so many young women, and this girl sent in a tape, and I was just like, oh my God, I think that's her. And it was her first film, and she's just so special. And yeah, it's really cool. She's since doing really cool stuff on her own and got signed, and I'm really proud of her. She's just the best.
That's what's up. There's a story right there for somebody that submits it and then gets their first film, because it connects after they do their self-tape. So for anybody that has doubt in the self-tapes that they do, look at that story.
Oh my God. It was such
that film.
And then I think she thought it was a hoax at one point. It's funny if you ever talk to her about this, because I was like in Chicago setting up and prepping, and then she was in New York, and it was like, okay, I'm going to meet up with my DP out there and test all these lenses and do a reading with you like the next day. Like we called her that night. And I think at first she was like, is this real? And then we met up in person and did all these scenes, and she was totally the one. It was really incredible.
That's what's up. What a beautiful story for all the actors out there that, always just give it a shot, send in that tape, because you never know when you can get picked up and then put into a project. So filming in the Midwest, how is, since you grew up there and you knew the lay of the land, how was it finding your locations and then working with like the film office and things like that?
Oh, it was great. So they have like this great tax credit, and everyone there is just so happy to be collaborative. Like the town where we shot, like I don't think they've done much filming, and it feels very charming and sort of stopped in time in a way. Like there's an old theater and old cars and old streets and old homes, and it just felt really like rustic, especially where we shot right by the water. It had this certain feeling, and it was through friends and family. And my dad actually was the one that was like, you should check out Antioch. It has this kind of feeling of like being like stopped in time, charming, like you'll find that small town vibe. And he was totally right. And then I worked with a locations person to like really get specific up there.
Yeah.
And everyone was so nice. We just had the best time filming. And a lot of it was difficult only because there's this thing with, you know, it's outside, it's the weather, there's water and all this terrain, but it also made it really fun. Like all of those challenges made it feel more alive in a sense. Like none of it was easy, but everyone was in it together. It was almost like we were in this like other reality.
Sure. A film that deals with adventure must have an adventure of its own while it's being created. So
That's
yeah, you went through all of it. Romantic relationship between story that's being told and the storytellers that are telling the story.
Yes, it was very meta in that way. It was cool. I mean, I hope every movie that I do has that same kind of vibe. It was really special.
For sure. Well, I think that it's wonderful, and I wanted to congratulate you on your acceptance to the LA Greek Film Festival and taking the time to speak with me about your film today. In closing, is there anything that you'd like to say to the film festival organization?
Well, I would just love to thank Georgia and Addis for their support, and it's just been really great meeting everyone and feeling connected. I mean, putting the film out in the world in October during the pandemic was like really an interesting sort of deflating experience after having this big festival life. So it's just really cool to see it make its way out there, and all help is much appreciated. So yeah, thank you.
Of course. Well, we're happy to showcase your film, Once Upon a River, on our platform. And again, congratulations on the acceptance, and we wish you a very successful rest of the run and distribution and all the success for your film and future projects to come.